Hey guys, this is Jeff, and I do a lot of beta testing at GSPro courses. I see an awful lot of them come in with bunker lips that look pretty much just like this. And that's because I think this is basically the default view of what a bunker lip will look like if you go through Blender and use the standard Blender tools. So I just want to show you a little bit about how bunkers work and help you do some things really simply that's going to make this just look a little bit nicer on your course. So, if your overall course is looking pretty good, you certainly don't want anything distracting. And to me, this very sharp line and then the very distinct color changes and then just sort of the no 3DG makes this bunker lip just kind of very visible, and we can do better. So let's look at how we can do that. So first of all, I just want to start and show you here in Inkscape. When you spline a bunker, when you apply the bunker material, you'll see down at the bottom, it says there is a blend of 0.12 M and a 0.18 M inset. So that's 12 centimeters or 18 centimeters are the size of the blend and the inset. Now, what are those things? Well, let's go into Blender and take a look. So here in Blender is a bunker, and here's our blend on the bunker. And the blend, if you remember, was 12 centimeters. So that's about 4 3/4 inches, a little under 5 inches. And that's what that is. That's this section right here, which is going to help transition from the rough to the bunker material. Now, how is it going to do that? Well, it's going to use vertex painting to do that. And if you've watched some of Mashy's videos, he's explained that the outside of the blend will be black and the inside will be red. Now let's take a look at that in Blender. So we're in object mode, but what we can do is go up here to the right in our shader, and we can actually turn on attributes, where we can now see the vertex colors right here in Blender in object mode. So here you can see the black paint and the red paint, and the materials are going to be applied to those once we get into Unity and handle our transition. Again, by default, most people are doing a sand raked dirt lip bunker. And so this is going to transition from this material, in my case, it's rough, to this material, which is going to be the lip of the bunker, which in this case is going to be dirt. So you're going to go from rough to dirt. There's going to be a little dirt here. And then we've got two different colors in the bunker, a green and a blue. And again, for the default bunker material, that's just a slightly different color sand and a little bit brighter sand. So let's have a look at that, and we can see it right here. So here you go. Here's your blend, rough to dirt in the bunker itself, a little bit of dirt, a little darker bunker material, and lighter bunker material. Now, it's a little more obvious to see on this side of the bunker. I just want to kind of point out, depends on how lighting hits your bunker, how it's going to look. Because if we go over to the other side of the bunker, the colors don't mismatch as much. You still have the sharp edge, and you still see your little bit darker bunker material, but at least the lip isn't as obvious over here. But still, you're going to notice it anywhere where you got a little bit of a shadow on the course. And let's take a look at how we can do better. So first of all, if I look at this bunker, now I've dug it with the default settings. So what does that mean? Well, I'm going to select the bunker, and now I want to just actually do something else in Blender to show you the geometry of the bunker. So we're going to come up here to Viewport Overlays, and we're going to click on Wireframe. So now we can actually see that inside the bunker, we've got 1, 2, 3 little loops, okay? And if you remember from what we just showed you in Inkscape, the lip of the bunker, there was the blend, that was the 5-inch blend, and then there's an inset. So the inset is essentially these 3 pieces, the lip, and then these next 2 pieces, these loops. So that's the inset. That's about 7 inches, 18 centimeters. So what we've done when we hit dig is we made the lip dig down 2.5 inches or so. That's roughly 5 centimeters. And then we dug a little further with the inner depth, the rest of the bunker here. So here's the real easy way to just make this look a little bit better. We can increase the dig on the bunker a little bit. We'll go to 0.1 10 centimeters. And then we're going to transition to it using the lip by setting this to we'll go 0.02. And so now we're going to apply those bunker settings. And so what you can see is now we've got a little bit of a bend on the lip and then going into our bunker dig. So just by doing that, just by changing these settings, 0.02 and 0.1, we're going to get a different look to our bunker. Let's take the bunker, export the mesh. Okay, so we just exported that bunker mesh. And what we're going to do is drag it into our FBX folder. Now, if you do this in Windows Explorer, it'll just overwrite the existing FBX in the folder. I do want to tell you, you got to be careful, because if you drag it into the FBX folder actually in Unity, then you're going to get kind of a second copy of that FBX file. And you could delete it first and then drag it in. You then have to update your mesh geometry, and it's just a little more complicated. But if you just take it and you drag the FBX right into your project FBX folder in your assets, I'll ask you if you want to overwrite it. You say yes. And then when we go back in Unity and click, we can see it kind of update in real time. So now, much less of a hard edge, more of a rounded edge coming into the bunker. We still got the same material transition, but it's a little bit less noticeable. You can still see it some over here on the shadowed side. And that's going to be tricky to handle, but just because of the way the sun shadow makes things shadows. So not horrible, but the first thing you can do is you can round to get rid of that edge. And then the second, probably the biggest thing to make these look better, is just come in here and add 3DG to the bunker blend. So just add your component, your grass renderer, and then you go pick whatever 3DG material you like. I happen to like, I think, the Molines Lush blend. I think it looks a lot like this material here, which is my rough no Molines Lush. So there it is, mixes it up. And now I think that's just a much better look. I don't notice the sharp line, the color transitions nearly as much by just doing those two things. So that's it. Just wanted to show you that all you got to do is, again, come in and modify your lip depth and inner depth. You can still get a nice dig to your bunker, but it's going to look a little bit better as long as you put 3DG on it than it would have if you didn't.